Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another speed build. It's time for another modern build. So I actually built and recorded this before the release of Realm of Magic. So I didn't really have the time to finish this build, but then I felt like it would be fun to kind of include it in between Realm of Magic builds. My last speed build was a huge magic manor, and I wanted to squeeze this very modern build in between some Victorian and Art Nouveau builds because this is kind of refreshing. So after the speed builds, there will be many more spooky builds that have a Realm of Magic theme. So I started off by building the pool in the back, and this is truly the eye catcher of the build. I'm going to quickly explain to you how I built this. So I have this heart-shaped foundation and the pool is underneath. I've explained this before, but I'm going to quickly go over this and this method. So no matter if you're building this where you have a foundation over a pool, or if you just want to have a floating house, for example, or some type of bridge, the method is always the same. You build a room at the bottom and then you build another room on top. Then you delete the room at the bottom. So technically the room on top is now just floating. You get rid of the ceiling and the walls, and all that you are left with is a floating piece of floor. And now you can click on the arrow and you can raise it up or down, and this is exactly what I did here. I lowered it so it's hovering right above the surface of the water, and this creates the illusion of a round pool, and you can have a lot of fun with this method. You can, as I said, also create some fancy bridges with this. I've done this in the past where you kind of have a dock over a lake, for example. There are many fun possibilities, and you can create a round shape by simply using the round foundation pieces. There are different ones, and I always advise to use the ones that already have a fence attached to them, because when you remove the fence and make them smaller on each side, on both sides, then you can create a perfectly round shape. So if you combine 4 of them, you have a perfect circle. But here, as I said, or as you can see, I created a heart shape. The heart shape isn't really that visible in the end because of course I built the house on this area and it's super confusing. Even I was confused while I was building this because I wasn't sure if I would just expand the foundation in the back, if I would build the house on top, or I don't know. When I'm building a house like this, I develop ideas while I'm building, which is the best thing ever. You don't have a solid plan, you just build and then it turns out to be something. Here I'm adding another piece of foundation where I just wanted to create some type of flower bed. It was a lot of fun. The most confusing builds where I'm just working section by section most of the time just turn out to be super fun and amazing. Here I'm using one of the environment objects. I used them to fill in the gap because I wanted to have a mix of very modern elements and kind of natural rustic looking elements. The stone wall on the left side is also one of the environment objects. It also makes the whole build appear a bit warmer, more friendly, and I think that the mix is kind of fun. It almost reminds me of something that you would see in LA, Beverly Hills, something like that, where you have a mix of a very modern, luxurious design and some very rustic, almost Mediterranean elements, I guess you could say. So the steps were created with the stony goodness slab. This is a spade object, and usually it's supposed to be placed on water. It's just for decoration. Sims cannot actually step on this, so I just sized it up and placed it there. And on the right side, as you will later see, I added the pool ladder, and the Sims can access the pool over there. And then built a gazebo, and I was actually running into some weird problems here. I don't know what caused these issues, and as I said, I built this before the release of Realm of Magic, so maybe now it's kind of fixed. But at this point, I built the round foundation piece on top, or here it's not round yet, but I'm going to change this. And then I added a glass roof, and my Sims were not able to actually walk underneath the gazebo for whatever reason. So I changed this a couple of times, and whenever I raised the roof, it was working and the Sims could go underneath, and when I made it lower because I wanted the round roof to be completely flat, it wasn't working anymore. It was a super weird bug, but I fixed it. So when you download this lot in the gallery, it's all working fine. So this is kind of a mess right now here, but I fixed it and it's fully functional. But this was super weird. There have been some really weird glitches when it comes to building during the last weeks, but yeah, I'm not sure if this is fixed in general. I hope so. I think the problem is that we got a couple of really substantial updates, the stairs for example, and of course these updates always introduce a couple of bugs. I don't know why they don't catch them before the release, but this is the reality, so we will just have to live with this until it's fixed, I guess. And here I wanted to add a round section, so I have another round balcony because I already have the round sections in the front for the pool, and then I felt like it would look good to have another round section, but then it just looked too crammed in. There just wasn't enough space, so I didn't do that eventually, and I made it much smaller. And as I said, I'm going to use a round roof for the gazebo, so the round shape is going to repeat itself over there, so I could eventually get rid of that balcony. And I used a technique that I've shown to you in a tutorial a while ago. I used some roofs that I basically turned into windows. The tutorial is called the angled window facade tutorial, and it's a super fun way to create these angled windows. And actually I was confusing myself there. I made this tutorial, and whenever I'm creating a tutorial, sometimes I'm building the same thing like 20 times. So I'm starting to record and then I'm running into problems myself, so I do it over and over again. And then at the end, when I have successfully recorded the tutorial, I know all the steps by heart, in and out, which is a good thing when people have questions. But sometimes I'm just building something and I develop an idea and then I am like, okay, how did I actually do that? So while I'm recording a tutorial, I'm kind of really learning what I've actually done there basically. And for some reason I totally confused myself here with this angled window facade, because I don't know what's going on, but I angled them into the wrong direction, so the area at the bottom wasn't functional. It was just super confusing, and I changed a lot about that later, but at first I don't know what was going on. The whole build was a mess at first, but it turned out to be quite nice in my opinion, so it doesn't matter. And these building processes are always the most fun because you have no idea what's happening next. So as I said, I'm going to release more Realm of Magic builds, and also I still owe you a modern base game build. I haven't forgotten. I made the poll a while ago and then the poll was almost tied, so I made a rustic base game build first, and soon I'm going to release the modern base game build. But this, I don't know, I just built this one night. I just had the idea to try something like this, something very bright and modern with a couple of dark accents here and there. So this build just kind of came along. Sometimes it happens, so I thought, why not release it, even though it's in between all these Realm of Magic builds. But I hope that it's a fresh breeze of air for you guys, because I certainly enjoy watching this right now and commenting it. It's just so different from other Realm of Magic builds. I haven't seen any modern Realm of Magic builds, but I think that it would be a super fun concept, because the pack of course has a certain theme and it totally makes sense to go all rustic and all that. But imagine some type of witch that is like some type of modern witch that lives nowadays, and she just lives in a city, in a super modern apartment for example, and she practices magic and she's super rich and she has this modern apartment, but she's still a rich, but not just like the typical fairy tale rustic version. I haven't seen anything like that, but I think that this would be a lot of fun. So the area with the angled windows is a balcony, so technically these rooms are not considered to be proper rooms, so weather does not affect your sims in these areas, but the light is a bit off. So I decided to use these areas in the front just as some type of balcony, and at the bottom I just added a window, so just a fancy area, just another window in front of the other window. And then one of these rooms is a bedroom, because I was kind of running out of space, and originally I wanted to use all these areas as some type of outside balcony sunroom area, but then I thought it would be fun to include another bedroom. But if the light is annoying you, you can totally get rid of that and you can just turn this room into anything else. This is not a typical family home or anything. There are 2 bedrooms, regular bedrooms. It's more of a bachelor pad, I would say, more of a very modern, fun party mansion. And of course, I also decided to use the new stairs that we got, the configurable stairs. I already said this in my last video, but I'm super excited for these. They are amazing. And I also want to quickly say, because I got this question after my last build, if you're running into the problem where your columns are acting weird and they don't have the correct height, then you can simply change the wall height and change it back, and then the column should have the correct height. And another trick that I have been using ever since the problem occurred, when you are placing a wall and then you delete it, the columns just snap to the correct height. It's a super weird bug, as I said earlier in this video. There are many weird bugs going on, but you just have to be creative and find a workaround. So here in the interior, I wanted this to be also very modern. I wanted to have this mix of very light colors, neutral colors, and a lot of black, so there is just a fun mix going on. These stairs are part of Get Famous. They are illuminated and they look super gorgeous, and the floor plan was super crazy. The whole build is super crazy. So the front door is actually not in the front, because there, as you saw, we have the balcony areas or the windows, so it's at the side, and then you enter a room that is also one of these rooms that you can see from the back with the big windows, and this is the entry area, and from there you have a front door and you access the actual living room area that I'm working on here right now. So it's super crazy and fun. It's not a very typical regular build, but you guys know that I love this, so I have gone a bit crazy here, I would say. I have used many of the Moschino objects. I know that this pack is totally controversial, but I love this pack because there are so many modern objects. If you are into modern architecture, I can totally recommend it. I mean, it's just a game pack and there is not that much going on. There aren't that many objects, but it's still super fun, so I can totally recommend it. And there are 2 bathrooms in this build, so it's not that much, but as I said, it's just more of a bachelor pad. I totally love building bachelor pads, even though most of my builds are family mansions, but whenever I'm building bachelor pads, it's just something different and so much fun. And this here is the entry area that I mentioned earlier, so this is technically not part of the interior because it's not considered to be a room, and I just added some benches and flowers, so this is really just where you step into the entry area. Then on the right side there is the front door, but as I said, I used one of these rooms also to create a bedroom, and it's so beautiful when you place one of these beds right underneath the window. Super beautiful. I'm going to link the playlist with all my tutorials down below in the description box, so if you want to, you can check this tutorial out and you can recreate this yourself. And I promise you, it's super easy and I'm explaining it step by step. I was just totally going crazy here and confusing myself, but it's really simple and a lot of fun. And of course, as always, you can also find this build in the gallery. It's fully furnished, and I did not use any CC, and you can find all the information down below in the description box. And I would like to say thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a perfect week, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.